Hello. So I would like to show you a couple of .NET applications running on our Debug Meadow board. Now notice here I've got a Meadow debug board. This is a pre-release board mounted to a breadboard. And it's actually not all that different from what the final F7 Feather formatter boards are going to look like. So I've got a near final board here as well. And notice they're actually pretty similar, except that my debug board has some extra debug pins. We use those for diagnostics and for early days of development. And the first app I'm going to run is going to control the onboard LEDs. Now here's the application I'm going to run. And the first thing I want to show you is that this is just pretty much a regular .NET application. If I go into options, in general, notice we're just .NET 4.7. And this is effectively just a .NET console application. And this works, of course, because we're running mono on the Meadow board. Now, of course, there's a little bit of custom plumbing and some custom libraries for Meadow, as you'd expect. And I want to point out a few things. So this is really, notice we've called this Hello LED. This is one of our test applications to test the GPIO on these boards. Now, what I'm doing currently is I'm creating 3 digital output ports. And this is how we're going to control our digital output ports on the board. Now, I'm going to control the onboard RGB LED. And that's done through actually 3 built-in GPIO ports, through 3 digital output ports. So I've got one for the red LED, the blue LED, and the green LED. And it's going to toggle those on and off. And so look at our application here. We're using a pretty standard app model. This is wired up from the program. Actually, let me show that to you as well, because it is just really a console application. This is our old friend static void main. We're creating an app instance, and in this case is our LED app. And then we're calling app.run. So if I go back to my code, you'll notice that all the work, everything is really being done here in this run method. First thing we do is call create outputs, and this is instantiating our 3 digital output ports. In this case here, we're assigning the pins for those output ports, and those are our onboard LED red, LED blue, and LED green ports. And then we're going to run our test code. In this case is our show RGB lights. Pretty basic application, but also really exciting. I mean, this is C# code running on our Meadow board, and notice we're getting fun things like system.threading. We're using thread.sleep here. And this is simply going to flash the 3 LEDs on the board. So let's get that running. And with the app running, now we see our RGB LEDs turning off and on. So of course we can see first the red, then the green, then the blue turn on, and then turn off. And it's just cycling through that. Each step is every 200 milliseconds, as you saw in the code. So that's a lot of fun, but I'd also like to show you the GPIO, the digital pins working on the board as well. Now if you look at the Debug Meadow board here, we've actually got a number of jumper wires connected, and that's intentional because we're going to use that to control an RGB LED array. And I happen to have one right here. And I'll plug this in. And this is a little board, and this is actually a little favorite tool of mine. It has 6 LEDs along with appropriate resistors, and then a single shared ground pin. So I've got the 6 inputs for my LEDs, and then that final pin that's not hooked up, I'm just going to add another jumper wire and connect to the ground. And now we'll go back to our test application and modify the code. In this case here, I'm going to change the run method, and I'm going to comment out both the create outputs and the show RGB lights. I have a method down here called show LED array. Now this is done a little bit differently. In this case, we're instantiating our digital output ports locally in the show LED array method. And then very similar code. You see here, it's going to turn them on and off. So we'll go up to our run method, call show LED array. And let me get this deployed to the device, and let's see it running. Now I've jumped ahead just a minute, so you're not waiting for the app to deploy. And here you can see it running now on our board. And let me just adjust the camera to get that better in frame. And of course you can see our LED array lighting up, being controlled by those 6 GPIO pins. And it's pretty fantastic. Of course we control things like LEDs, 7-segment displays. Of course we control other things like relays. Really quite powerful just with basic GPIO. And of course these pins work for input as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you're as excited as I am about running proper .NET C# code on a Feather board. Thank you very much.